In this quick Adobe Premiere Pro tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add adjustment layers to your timeline that will allow you to add effects to a whole video or a section of video without having to add these effects to each individual clip one by one. So let's jump into Premiere. So to create a new adjustment layer in Adobe Premiere Pro, we just need to click on this new item icon down the bottom here in your project window. So click on that and we'll choose adjustment layer here. Now it's going to bring up this box here, this adjustment layer box, and by default it's going to create an adjustment layer of the same dimensions as your timeline. So in this case I've got a 4K timeline, so it's going to create a 3840 by 2160 adjustment layer. And if you want to change that, you can just come in here and just type the dimensions of the adjustment layer that you want. But I recommend that you just leave it as the timeline dimensions. So we'll just click on OK, and it's going to create a new adjustment layer in our project window over here. So to get this into your timeline, we're just going to click and drag it in, and it's going to bring it into the timeline onto track 2. Now adjustment layers work just like ordinary video clips. We can drag them and to make them longer or shorter, and essentially what an adjustment layer does is any effects that you apply to the adjustment layer itself, it will affect everything underneath that adjustment layer. So for example, if I click on the adjustment layer here and go over to the Lumetri color panel, and if I wanted to, let's say, boost the shadows, boost the highlights, boost the contrast and the exposure, just for an example for this video, you can see that it added it to all these clips that are underneath the adjustment layer. If I wanted to stop it at the end of this clip here, you can see that's really overexposed, but the next clip is back to normal again. But if I were to drag this adjustment layer over this clip as well, you can see that that's been affected by the adjustment layer. So using adjustment layers will save you a ton of time because you won't have to add all these effects to each individual clip in your timeline. Instead you can add it to one layer and then just adjust the adjustment layer's duration over the clips that you want to be adjusted. One thing to note here is that if you were to drag the adjustment layer from your project panel again and drag it onto your timeline, you can see it's got absolutely no effects on it whatsoever. So if you wanted to copy the effects on this adjustment layer to another adjustment layer, we can just do that. We can do that by going into the effect controls of this adjustment layer here, selecting whichever effects you've applied to this adjustment layer, and we'll copy those and come onto this adjustment layer here, and then we'll paste those in there. And it's copied the same effects we've got on this adjustment layer onto this adjustment layer here. Now if I just remove the effects I've applied to these adjustment layers, well, we'll delete that adjustment layer completely. Come over to this one here and we'll just delete that Lumetri color on this adjustment layer. And what we can also do with adjustment layers is add an effect. So if I click on my little arrows here, bring up the effects panel, and let's say we wanted to add a Gaussian blur to these clips. So I could just type in Gaussian blur, there we go, and we can drag that onto the adjustment layer, and we can just turn this blur right up, and you can see now that it's affected all of these clips here, but not the ones where the adjustment layer isn't dragged over. So if I were to come onto this clip here, for example, and extend the adjustment layer, the blur would also be applied to this clip as well. So as you can see, using adjustment layers is a fantastic way to speed up your workflow and apply effects to multiple clips at a time, or even your whole sequence. So there you have it. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, please subscribe for more. And if you have any questions or comments at all, I'd love to hear from you, so please leave them below. And if you want to take your video skills to the next level, head on over to v8videoacademy.com, where I've got tons of resources, guides and tutorials to help you become a better video creator. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.